Hi, I'm Barbara Canuel. I'm the dietitian with Community Nurse Home Care. Today we're going to be talking about healthy eating at home. During this time, we do want to encourage everyone to do very mindful choices in the meal planning that we are doing. With today's program, we are going to include a copy of the MyPlate Model, which is part of the USDA's nutrition meal planning. This plan is designed to help us to promote health and decrease the risk for chronic disease by just making some very simple choices. First of all, we want to encourage everyone that we should be eating at least 3 meals per day. As we all know, breakfast is very important, and then we do want to encourage people to have healthy lunch, healthy supper, and if we are going to have snacks, we want to be sure that we're including low-fat, low-sodium types of snack choices. As we use the MyPlate model, we do encourage people to have at least 1.5 cups of fruit every single day. So whether this is fresh fruit, if we are purchasing canned fruit, we want to be sure that this is packed in juice or packed in water versus being in heavy syrups. Some people prefer to have fruit as juices, but juices do tend to have a lot of concentrated sweets. As we move through the MyPlate model, vegetables are another very important component of our day. So we should be having at least 2 cups of vegetables every single day. Now with those vegetables, again, we have choices between fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, or canned vegetables. My preference would be to encourage people to go with fresh or frozen, and I do understand that fresh vegetables can sometimes spoil faster than we can use them, so frozen vegetables are a very good alternative. We encourage people to try to choose frozen vegetables that are packed just as plain frozen vegetables, not in sauces. If we're going to go with canned vegetables, the canned vegetables should be packed as no salt added. This way we are able to save a significant amount of sodium with our daily food intake. As we move our way around the MyPlate model, we do have a section of our plate that is set aside for protein or meat choices. So meat choices can be either chicken or fish or lean beef, pork. We do encourage people to try to choose products that are going to be more baked or broiled and not having them deep fat fried or with added fats. Additionally, one of our concerns with healthy eating is to not have too much extra sodium with our food choices. So if we can avoid having meats that are pre-breaded or pre-marinated, but maybe doing some different kinds of marinades that are homemade at home, this would be wonderful. Our last stop on the MyPlate model would be our grains. And with the recommendations from the MyPlate model, we're looking at least 6 ounces or 6 servings of grains per day, with at least half of those grains being whole grains. So this would include products such as brown rice, whole wheat pasta, multigrain breads, whole wheat or whole grain cereals, and products of the like. Now, with these different kinds of products, as I mentioned before, we do want more fiber because this is going to encourage us to have good heart health, and for people with diabetes, it helps us to control blood sugar numbers. I realize that many times carbs can be something that people crave, but we do encourage people to have those good healthy choices. Now, as we follow this MyPlate model with our 3 meals daily, we want to think about making meals be very purposeful. These meals are going to provide the fuel that our bodies need in order to be able to maintain health and wellness throughout the holiday season and through the year ahead. So with these choices, thinking about planning ahead, trying to think of what do I want purchased from the grocery store. And we do understand that at times it can be challenging to get all of the foods that we need, but planning so that you have the appropriate resources in the home makes for a much more beneficial meal experience. We also want to set meal times aside. So not to say that we need to set our clocks by our meals, but if we have some set meal times where we can plan and have those meals scheduled out and using the appropriate ingredients, this does improve health and wellness as well. Portion control is another big concern, and that's one of the beauties of our MyPlate model. Although the MyPlate model may seem like it can be a far reach for some individuals, the MyPlate model helps us to see what appropriate portion sizes should be when we're planning our meals. So if we can fill at least half of our plate with fruits and vegetables, a quarter of our plate with protein or meat sources, and a quarter of our plate with our grains. This provides the appropriate mix of nutrients that will provide health and wellness for our bodies. Vitamins and minerals, protein, carbohydrates, and limited sources of fats will be helpful. I do understand that some people may have diabetes or prediabetes. And in those instances, we would encourage people to try to fill at least half of their plate with non-starchy types of vegetables. Our starchy vegetables would be products such as corn or peas, butternut squash, potatoes. Those are good to fill about a quarter of our plate with. For the rest of our plate, we can either fill with salad or with other non-starchy vegetables such as green beans, broccoli, carrots, spinach, and things of the like. For those of us who have heart disease, we do try to limit the number of added fats with the food choices that we're making. So this would encourage people to try to use lesser amounts of oils, butters, sauces and gravies, as well as salad dressings. Instead of using these types of products, we do have the options of using nonstick cooking sprays or trying to use half the amount of oils that we would typically use in our cooking. We do encourage people to consider using olive oil or canola oil versus using just regular vegetable oils or products such as that. It's also very important that we maintain adequate hydration. With hydration, not everybody enjoys drinking water, but we also don't want to be drinking a lot of real sugary types of beverages. So when we think about hydration, there are ways that we can incorporate fluids through the use of milk, some 100% fruit juices. We can also have water-based or broth-based type soups. Homemade soups that are lower in sodium are all the better. We also encourage people to think about how maybe products such as sherbet ice cream or frozen yogurt could be used for fluids, but we don't want for those to be our primary source of hydration. For the most part, we encourage people to drink between 6 and 8 cups of fluid per day, but there are times where doctors may ask for people to restrict their fluid intake, and we would encourage people to follow their doctor's guidelines based on the recommendations for their health concerns. One last point that I would like to bring up is looking at nutrition labels. Now with nutrition labeling, there are new labels that should be rolled out by January of 2021. This has been a process. So with our nutrition labeling, we encourage people to look at the information regarding fats, where lower fat choices are typically going to have less than 5 grams of fat per serving. And please remember that when we're looking at labels, we do want to be sure to see that the nutrition information listed is per serving, not per package. So look at the number of servings per package and know that that is per serving. Additionally, with sodium, we do want to try to keep our sodium intake down. So if we can look for products with less than 10% sodium, that would be very beneficial. Lastly, when we're looking at our carbohydrates for those people with diabetes, we do ask that we look for more fiber and fewer added sugars in the products that you are choosing. So thank you all for your time today. I do hope that you've learned a lot about staying well and eating healthy at home.